Money FM 89.3. Best of breakfast. Companies to watch.
Good morning, companies to watch, and there is a lot to watch around this company we are talking about today. And to bring us through this journey, we've got Dan Koh joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Ryan. Happy Monday. How was your weekend?
It was pretty good. I had a pretty good, restful weekend. How was yours?
Oh, very good as well. Very
drama?
restful for myself, huh?
No drama?
No drama? Not so much. Yeah, it's relatively simple. I like to keep my weekends simple because the week has been quite hectic already. But yes, welcome to Companies to Watch. We're talking about a segment where we spotlight and stock you up with ideas of listed companies that will call for your attention. So we're looking at market trends and risks and hidden gems and warning signs to steer clear of. So be part of the conversation, 88550893, and tell us whether you think it's going to be a hot or not. Okay, Ryan, speaking of drama, what's your favorite local television drama?
Wow, local. I've got to put on my hat here.
Yeah,
Local.
a quick one. You've got tons of it from Channel, Channel 8.
It was a show from way back.
What's it
was
called?
called The Rara Show.
Yeah, that's way back,
You
right?
remember.
I don't know what that is. Okay, mine would be The Little Nyonya.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, classic.
There's another one that's up and coming. It's called the CDL Limited.
Oh, okay. I'm looking forward to that one.
Okay, that's what we're talking about today. So if you've been following the latest news about our hyped up stock market, you probably would have seen the drama brewing in one of Singapore's biggest property developers. We're talking about City Developments Limited, the leading global real estate company that has a network spanning 163 locations in 29 countries and regions.
Yeah,
So,
lots of developments in the sense of that word.
a lot. It's a bit of an understatement, Ryan. If you haven't already caught up with the latest S-drama, as I like to call it, here's a quick overview of what we know so far. Okay, now CDL plunged into crisis last Wednesday when its billionaire chairman Kwek Ling Beng, the 84-year-old, accused his son, Sherman Kwek, the firm's CEO, of orchestrating a boardroom coup, along with a group of directors, including lead independent director Philip Lee and independent non-executive director Huang. And that puts pretty much its $18 billion family empire at stake, which covers property development to hospitality as well as finance. So, in a statement, Mr. Ling Beng said that he had sought to dismiss his son from the CEO position earlier in February due to what he alleged was serious lapses of corporate governance. How would you feel when you hear that as an investor, Ryan?
Yeah, a bit of a shocker at that point because I was assuming things were okay, fairly okay, because on the surface we didn't really get much reports around or even rumors that something was brewing behind the scenes, and then it just hit the news cycle, and it just went on and on. Things started to almost take a life of its own. Like we kept hearing different things, and everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, it does seem to turn a little bit ugly as the day goes by. Along with 3 other board members, CDL, of course, filed a lawsuit against Sherman and the 6 other directors in a move that the chairman said was done to set things right. And in particular, the elder Kwek objected to the appointment of 2 directors who were added to the board this month without going through the typical nomination process. Now, CDL appointed Jennifer Duong Yang, who spent 21 years at Credit Suisse, and Wong Su Yen to the board. Now, that's a move that Mr. Ling Beng referred to as the latest of a long series of missteps. Now, he pointed to past business decisions under his son's leadership that pretty much put CDL in a precarious position, including a $1.9 billion loss from CDL's investment in Chinese developer Sincere Property. That was back in 2020. And also on top of that, poor returns from UK property ventures. So according to Kwek, the reckless actions of a faction seeking to consolidate unchecked control not to only quote-unquote undermine the foundations of CDL's governance, but also put at risk the very legacy that they have built over the decades. And if you know about his story, Kwek Ling Beng pretty much built this empire with his dad, along with his brother, for the past 60 years. So if the legal action by Kwek Ling Beng against his son is successful, Kwek Ik Shing will serve as the interim group CEO should Sherman Kwek be removed. And that's pretty much his cousin that will be taking over. Now, that being said, many of us would be curious to know about what Sherman Kwek is responding. And in his statement, he said that a majority of CDL's board were incredibly disappointed and that the extreme actions that were taken by his father and minority group of the board over the disagreement pretty much, doesn't line with what he has been aiming for his company, which has been to improve governance. So here's the latest of what we're hearing from Sherman Kwek as well. He said that the primary reason for the dispute is due to a very serious issue of corporate governance within the group, and he's pushing the blame to one of the conducts, Dr. Catherine Wu. Does this sound familiar to you, Ryan?
This is making my head spin right now. So you have so many different angles to this. One side saying they broke the rules with the new 2 directors being added to the board. And then here you have someone else, or the son, saying, hey, the bigger problem is this Dr. Catherine Wu. So tell me more.
So basically, according to the filing on Companies House, she pretty much served as the director at Millennium and Cotham Hotels, a wholly owned and principal subsidiary of CDL Group, and the hotel arm of Mr. Kwek Ling Beng's business empire. And her occupation was pretty much listed as chief of staff. But according to Sherman Kwek, she had been interfering in matters going well beyond her scope, and she wields and exercises enormous influence on Mr. Kwek Ling Beng's decisions. So these matters, according to Sherman, have troubled them as directors. Now, to this end, though, Sherman notes that the majority directors are alive to their duties and will continue to uphold the corporate governance and accountability within the CDL empire. That being said, verdict for today, this drama goes on. I'm going to go with a nod. What about you, Ryan?
Yeah, definitely for sure. I've been seeing a lot of analysts cutting back on their price targets, downgrading to the stock. So I'm joining that camp and thinking it's still some ways before we get some clarity.
That's right. So far, what I'm seeing across the consensus forecast, we've got DBS and OCBC, while they're still giving a buy rating as of the 27th of February, they've downgraded, of course, their target prices. And UOB is the only one to have brought it down or downgraded to a hold for CDL as of the 27th of February. Now, that being said, Ryan, have you watched the movies Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and The Great Gatsby?
Yeah, of course, classic.
Now, did you know that the Plaza Hotel in New York, which was accorded landmark status in 1969, held roles in the film and that belonged to CDL?
Yes, I remember now, and I think it was something he bought from Donald Trump.
Yeah, he bought from Donald Trump along with the Prince of Saudi Arabia for $325 million. Now, he is named as one of the most prominent realtors across the region because he improved the investment and pretty much, sold it off for $675 million in 2013. So, that being said, Ryan, what kind of building weighs the least, Ryan?
Wow, this is a tough one. What kind of building? A green building?
A lighthouse. Okay, Ryan, how many insects do you need to make money from your rental unit? Insects. How many?
0. I don't want any insects.
Tenants.
Tenants.
Okay, that's all we have for CDL.
Before acting on the information on Money FM, please consider if it's suitable for your own investment objectives, financial situation, and risk tolerance. To listen to more great interviews, download our podcasts at audio.sg or download the audio app. That's AWEDIO, audio at the App Store and Google Play.